town is below 10% in its affordable housing stock. I could say substantially below, which it is, it's below 5%. But it doesn't matter under Chapter 40B, because if you're even 1 unit short, you are at risk for a project, unless and until you reach that 10%. And that is defined by statute and regulation. It's not just what's affordable with a small A on the market. It is properties that are part of a program involving subsidies and restriction on who can own them. And basically, it's the standard is 80% of median income established for the Boston area. And so with that criteria, we've got Wilkins Glen, we have Tilden Village, we have the Allendale project, we have some smaller projects here and there, but we're far below the 10%. And unless and until the town gets to 10%, we are vulnerable. So we're talking a site on West Street. It's an industrial parcel. It's probably the poster child for a piece of land that should be left alone and not developed. But that's the beauty, if you will, of Chapter 40B. It allows the developer to trump the local zoning and land use controls largely in order to further the purpose, as the state has determined it, of creating affordable housing. Let me just quickly, by way of background, this parcel was already, first of all, it was a leftover parcel, as I understand it, from the industrial development that created the so-called potpourri building. The piece of land came into the ownership of a party who attempted to maximize the development potential by submitting a Chapter 40B project back in the 2004 or so range, proposing 36 condominium units. We went through the process, which will be described to you sooner or later, but basically the Zoning Board of Appeals sits as a super local permitting authority, basically exercising the jurisdiction of all the various committees that would otherwise be involved in granting approvals. And in this case, the zoning board did grant an approval with conditions. The developer felt that those conditions rendered the project uneconomic and took an appeal to the Housing Appeals Committee, which is a state agency. And at that time, we negotiated a settlement which resulted in, I believe, 34 condominium units. And the project then sat there without being developed. The turnaround in the economy, the real estate market set in, and so that project has never gone forward. The developer of that project, or the owner of the project, did obtain one extension to the comprehensive permit, which have an initial period of 3 years, gained 1 year, came back in for another year this year, and was denied, and that is presently on appeal to the Housing Appeals Committee and pending. So that's kind of the background. While the developer, I should say the property owner, was attempting to seek an extension for the existing comprehensive permit for the condo project, he also had entered into a purchase and sales agreement with the entity known as Gatehouse to put in a 96-unit apartment complex on the site. Gatehouse, as I understand it, has taken the preliminary steps, which is to put a submittal into Mass Housing, another state agency, which reviews the project, the location, the town, the finances, and gives an approval, which is required for the developer to be able to take the next step. Mass Housing has given that approval, and so it's now up to the developer to formally file with the Zoning Board of Appeals. Once that happens, the Zoning Board of Appeals has 30 days to open and move forward with a hearing on the project. And so at this point, I'm going to defer to either one of my colleagues to kind of walk you through what that process would involve.